So, on a few weeks' notice, you go a surging contender to one of the biggest names in the division. Just what's it been like to make this adjustment between opponents?
Honestly, it wasn't a huge change as far as the opponents go. I mean, if you break them both down, they're both super athletic. They're both southpaws. They're both power punchers. So there wasn't a huge shift going from Jeff Neal to Robbie Lawler. But the kind of excitement that fight against Robbie Lawler brings, that's definitely something that's a play factor for sure.
This is your second fight of the pandemic. Did you bring anything with you from home to pass the time to make it easier that you didn't think of the first time?
I actually brought less this time. I mean, the last time I was out here, I brought the PlayStation and all the stuff to distract me when I was here. And it played as too much of a distraction. And like fighting became the least of my priorities then. I was like a little too comfortable at that point. So being in a hotel room now and actually being able to visualize and play the fight over my mind over and over and over, I feel like it's gonna help me a lot more as opposed to last time when I was here. It was just a little too many distractions for me being in that hotel room with the games and all this other stuff that had going on.
You're a guy who is known for fighting so often and keeping quite the schedule. I know 2019 is what it was, but can you talk about what it's like to be back on track and to be back on schedule, so to speak, by being so active this year?
Man, it feels great. I thank God for it every day. I mean, to be in a position that I'm in now to compete as often as I am and stay as healthy as I am with all these fights. I mean, I'm truly fortunate for it, and I'm taking advantage of every opportunity that's presented to me. The difference between the years prior to now is before it's kind of riding it out, enjoying myself. Yes, those I was always planning for the future and that kind of thing. But at this point, like having a son and having a wife and all that stuff now in 2020, there's no room for error. There's no room for slacking up. There's no room to kind of like take a day or an opportunity for granted. So to be able to compete as often as I can and provide for my family and keep moving forward, make my goals, my dreams come true is amazing.
Final one from me. I think there's a bit of perception. Could Robbie Lawler be slowing down a little bit? Could it be just a little more vulnerable than he used to be? Watching him and preparing for him, I mean, what do you expect to see out of Robbie when you get out there?
So yeah, that's been the theme of this whole fight we going into. Everyone's like, "Oh, Ryan Lawler might be past his prime, might be this, might be that." I'd be an idiot to think that for a second that Robbie Lawler's past his prime. This guy's one of the most dangerous welterweights on the planet. He was a UFC champion for a reason, so I can't take him lightly. I can't look past him at all. And look at the last couple fights he had. I mean, it doesn't really represent the kind of fighter he is and the kind of fight he's able to bring to the table. The RDA fight, he hurt his knee early on. The Ben Askren fight, it was that fluke submission that he wasn't necessarily out on, but the ref called it anyway. And Covington did a good job controlling him the whole fight. But the biggest thing for me is just staying focused and realizing that in front of me is the most dangerous rival ever, and going out there and fighting that guy.
Thank you.
No problem.
We will take our next questions from Danny Segura with MMA Junkie.
Hey Neil, can you recount found out that Robbie Lawler was going to step in on short notice and how that fight came together? Because usually replacement opponents are either UFC newcomers or guys that are just starting out in the promotion, not former champions.
Yeah, I mean, it caught me a little bit off guard at first. I mean, like when I first got the email about the Jeff Neal falling out, I was kind of bummed. It's like, hey man, he fell out of the fight. With standby, we're trying to find a replacement. And the next day, I was like, hey, Robbie Lawler wants to fight, and I was just like, holy crap, this is even better. So it was just pure excitement and joy when I was just like, heck yeah, I get a new opponent, a guy who's like I said is a legend, a guy who I can really go out there and make a name for myself again. So I was super excited to get that matchup.
Yeah. No disrespect to Geoff, but do you almost feel like this is a better scenario?
Yes and no. I mean, the fight against Rob Lawler, there's a lot of prestige behind his name, so to speak, being a former world champion and being in the sport for as long as he's been. But at the same time, Jeff Neal's the young guy that you want to test yourself against. I mean, he's undefeated in UFC. He's on an amazing win streak right now. He has a lot of steam behind him. So that's kind of the fight that not necessarily excites you more, but brings its own level of excitement. Like if I go out there and beat Robbie Lawler, there'll be some naysayers that are like, oh yeah, well, he's been past his prime, he's this, he's that. There's gonna be room for people to critique and say and downplay the win. Where if I were to beat a guy like Jeff Neal, it's like, holy crap, dude, this guy was undefeated in UFC. He was making a sprint to the top of the division, and you just stopped him in his tracks. That's amazing. So each fight comes with its own list of things to take away from. But at the end of the day, I'm happy with the Robbie Lawler matchup.
For sure. And you're no stranger to fighting big names. You fought Carlos Condit, Johnny Hendricks, obviously guys that mean a lot to the division, and other guys as well. But where would you rank Robbie Lawler among all those names that you faced prior? Do you think he's the biggest name you've faced?
At this point in my career, I think he is the biggest name that I've faced thus far, and it comes with a lot of weight behind it as well. I mean, at this point, it's like, man, you like Robbie Lawler's not a guy that people are willing to fight on short notice, or a guy that people get excited to fight. So, for you to take this fight with the amount of time that I've had and knowing what I can go out there and do on Saturday night, it's exciting for me. I can't wait to put on a performance that to have people talking on Monday morning.
For sure. And last question for me. You have two solid wins, back to back, or very solid opponents. Now you're facing a big name in Robbie Lawler. Do you think a win here will put you in the title mix? What do you think a victory over Robbie Lawler and the streak that you're in right now will do to your career?
It definitely throws me in the top 10 for sure, with the win over Robbie Lawler. But at this point, it's literally up to me how I go out there and perform against Robbie Lawler with dates later on this year. So for me, it's going out there and just taking control of what I want to happen with my career. I go out there, put on a great performance against them. Then I'm fighting guys that are in the top 10 and moving closer to that title shot. I'm not going to be as naive to say, like, yeah, if I beat Robbie Lawler on Saturday, I'm ready to fight for a title on Monday. I know there's going to be some work to be done as far as working my way through the ranks and that kind of thing. But a win against Robbie Lawler definitely propels me in the right direction.
Thank you, Neil. Good luck on Saturday.
No problem. Thank you.
We will take our next questions from Pablo Santamaria with Noti MMA Ecuador.
Hi, Neil. How are you?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
Everything is fine. Thanks for asking. The first thing I want to ask you is, you said that Geoff Neal and Robbie had a similar style. So what do you think is the main difference between them? So you have to adapt your style for that.
To be honest with you, the main difference between a fight against Robbie Lawler and Jeff Neal would be the experience level. Robbie Lawler is a guy who's been in deep waters plenty of times before, and finds a way to win. I mean, you watch his fight against Mainhoof and plenty of other guys where it's like, man, dude, he's out of the fight and he somehow finds a way to rally back, get a knockout, and win the fight. So his fight IQ is definitely a lot further than Jeff Neal. So that's something to take into account on Saturday night is the experience level. But when it's all said and done, it's up to me to go out there and get it done. Like it's a fight that's definitely winnable for me. It's a fight that I know I can go out there and put a great performance in. So at this point, it's just go out there and execute.
Okay. What do you expect from Robbie? He is coming from 3 consecutive losses. Do you think he's going to come very aggressive and try to knock you out?
When have you seen the Robbie Lawler fight where he wasn't aggressive? He came for a knockout. I definitely expect him to be similar to Donald Cerrone fight, where he just sprinted out and then threw everything he had towards Donald Cerrone, and that's the kind of fight that I'm expecting. I'm expecting it to be fireworks from beginning bell to whenever that fight may end. So that's the kind of Robbie Lawler I'm expecting. The guy who is dangerous everywhere, the guy who's experienced, the guy who was a former world champion for a reason, and that's the kind of fight that's gonna bring out the best in me.
And what's your prediction for the fight?
Me getting my hand raised, whether it's submission, TKO, or decision. I'm gonna get my hand raised on Saturday night.
And where do you think a victory over Robbie Lawler puts you in?
It definitely propels me further in the top 10 of my division, where I can start facing the guys in rank 6, 7, 8, 9, along those ranks or whatever. But it definitely puts me a step in the right direction. And this is a huge fight for me, a huge opportunity for me to go out there and take advantage of.
Thank you very much, Neil, and good luck on Saturday.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
And we will take our last set of questions from Ezekiel Borganzi with Super Luchas.
Hey, hello, Neil. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Fine, thank you. So, how it was this training camp? Because you already had 2 on this year, 1 in the pandemic. So, how is it for you now? Are you more used to, or there some things that you are not really used to in these times?
This training camp has been great. I mean, like I said, like my motivation has been higher in years. I'm in a great position right now. Literally, my last fight against Tony Martin, I was in the gym on Monday, already asking my coach like, "Hey, what do you think about the fight? Where do you think I can improve? What do you think I should work on?" And putting the work in. So whether it was Jeff Neal, Robbie Lawler, or whomever else, I was then prepared to go out there and just show a more evolved, better version of myself from my last fight already.
Mm.
So it wasn't. I don't think the pandemic slowed me down at all. If anything, I think it helps because, like I was saying earlier, a lot of the distractions are gone. A lot of the extra bodies that tend to be on the mat that pulls away coaches' attentions are gone. So I'm really able to kind of focus in on what I need to and focus in on the things I do to get better to continue winning these fights.
And you are 3 victories away to tie the same record George St. Pierre has about wins in your division, the history of the division. How do you feel about that? How much do you think that you will need to tie that record?
It feels great. Like I was saying earlier, like this whole process is unfolding great. I mean, going from a 19-year-old kid walking on the mat trying to figure this thing out to being where I'm at now, where I'm fighting guys who are legends in the sport. I'm having wins over guys who are former champions, and I'm being put in the same category of guys who are considered the greatest of all time in the sport. I mean, it is legend. I'm doing the right things and I'm working in the right direction. I mean, it's one of those weird things that everyone looks at success like this, like straight path to the top or whatever, but it's filled with deep valleys and hills and that kind of thing, and there's some low points in it. But overall, if I look back the last 8 years I spent with the UFC, I made a steady climb to the top, and I can't wait to see what this is going to be like when it's all over.
And my last question, besides sports, is well, it has to its relation with sports. The NBA should communicate that all games of today are postponed because the players protested against, uh, racism in America. What do you think about that, and how important do you think that this is for sports in general? Because it's a very historic moment.
So every opportunity you have to kind of be a light in the time of darkness is a great opportunity. If I can do that through sports, then I'll do it through sports. If I can do it through my actions, as far as how I treat people on a daily basis and who I run into and that kind of thing, I'll do it that way. The cool thing is about the being an athlete, being on television worldwide, is you do have a platform, you do have an opportunity to kind of speak to some of the injustices and things that you don't agree with throughout the world, and it's a platform that no one can take away from you. So it is important, in my opinion, to have that platform and use it as best as you can. So I'm actually grateful that sports are able to be out there where a lot of people are using their platform to kind of shed light to the darkness that's going on and bring light to certain situations that otherwise have been overlooked or passed over for many more generations and years. So that's a good thing. But at the end of the day, it's about making a positive effect on people's lives on an everyday basis, whether it's uh, giving someone a 15-minute distraction watching me fight so they don't have to deal with something else going on in life, or someone getting motivated by seeing me do or say something. I'm ready for all that.